Hi everyone, Simon Keeling here. It's Saturday the 12th of January and this is weatherweb.net. Thanks for coming back and viewing the site. As always, the sites get free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here, and by you clicking on the adverts, coming back to the site, using the charts, etc. That's what keeps us free of charge, so thank you for doing that. It's pretty cold out there now, isn't it? Temperatures have dropped. We can certainly feel that there's been a change. Temperatures now typically 1 to 3 degrees across the country, and we saw bits and pieces of snow across the south of the country during this morning. It's pulling away to the south just now, but it could be that we do still get some periods of snow, particularly this evening. Let me just pull the radar up for you. There we go. So it's this area down to the south that we're watching now. We've got low pressure kind of centered in here, and what that's doing is it's just driving these bands. You can see these sort of bands of convection here coming onto the south coast. As this feature pulls away down to the south during this evening, it drags in ever colder air. It will turn this sort of area here increasingly to sleety, snowy stuff, so I think the roads become icy, and just a general warning about icy roads really for this evening. It does look as if it's going to be an icy one. Also got some snow showers now, look, just coming onto the eastern coast of Scotland, and also this area here, look, just making its way onto the eastern coast of England too, so there is some snow around. I'll show you where I think we're going to go with Monday's snow in just a moment, but for now this is the chart for this evening, for 6 o'clock this evening. Low pressure here centred down towards the southwest. Here's this area of precipitation that we just saw with those showers clearing away from the eastern coast. So overnight tonight, that area of low pressure will be slipping its way southeastwards, but watch this. This is a little front that comes into the west of Scotland. That brings more snow to western Scotland through the course of Sunday, turning increasingly heavy as it edges eastwards. Elsewhere, it looks as if it shouldn't be too bad a day. It's a cold one though, with that severe frost early on, and I think temperatures in places probably only getting up to about 0 to 1 degree across England and Wales. This feature though is going to be moving in, and really that's the feature that brings periods of snow to Scotland, then eventually sleety, snowy stuff to Northern Ireland, bits and pieces to the far northwest of England, and also western coast of Wales. Overnight into Monday, okay, the fun and games start now. Here comes that front. Look, down it comes as quite a weak feature first of all. It slips southeastwards, it brings snow with it, and probably only just light snow kind of in this area by Monday morning. However, just look at this area here that's coming back behind it. This feature follows in, and as that comes in, it comes up against that feature towards the east. It reinvigorates it, and this is then an area of snow, and that snow looks as if it lasts through late Monday morning into the early part of Monday evening across western parts of the UK in here, but towards the east you can see the low pressure develops. It becomes a more significant feature. It brings snow through this area, and then we get a second area of snow developing here across western Scotland that slips its way southeastwards through the course of the evening and overnight, giving a second hit of snow probably to Wales and the West Midlands, although for parts of Wales and Northern Ireland it'll be the first hit of snow, because earlier on they'll have had milder conditions move through. And then through the week, well, we go into a northeasterly, things freezing up, and then we go into the northeast through Wednesday, bringing snow showers on the eastern coast. Those look as if they kind of hang around by the time we get through in towards Thursday and also into Friday too. And the high kind of tries to hold on in there, although you notice here this feature down towards the west on Friday evening, that trying to bring in milder air, but it never gets in because this cold northeasterly just keeps on blowing, and it's persistent that cold northeasterly comes in, and it just comes up against this block. So every time one of these systems tries to move its way eastwards, the milder air, it comes up against this colder and kind of just fizzles out. So it looks like we are going to be cold for a wee while to come. Yeah, I think it's probably going to be next Sunday before we see a breakdown to more mild conditions. So this is, let's just show you as well, and you might remember me talking about the Canadian model yesterday and the day before and how I thought that had got things. Well, I think the Canadians probably got it again, because that's the way things have turned out. This was the analysis for last night. Let's just get on to that's today. Look, there's our area of low pressure slipping southeastwards. Now we get in towards Monday. Look, here's our area of low pressure coming south on Monday, heading southeastwards, takes this trough area here with it, which has just got cold air constantly feeding into it. This ridge is building north, look, and then what we find is this low develops even further for late on Monday. And what the Canadian does, interestingly, is it actually develops that low more significantly than the GFS. So what that would do is it would bring heavier snow across northern England, the Midlands, East Anglia and the South East overnight into Tuesday. Then through Tuesday it's a very slow clear its way down to the south, snow lingering across the southeast according to the GEM before we get that northeasterly flow developing and we get cold weather across the country. Although by the end of the week it tries to bring in, look, very briefly here, very briefly it tries to bring in a milder spell, and this would be for early part of Friday before we then get another injection here of cold air coming in, which takes us back into sort of scenario 1 where we get snow again by next weekend. It then clears away to the southeast on the northeasterly, and then look, we tend to see, or the GEM tries to bring back in a block of slightly milder air as we head into the beginning of the week after next, but whether it actually gets here is debatable because it tries to bring this easterly back in as well. So I think jury's out on exactly what happens at the end of next week, but the Canadian still is my more favoured model. These are the 8:50 temperatures. So these temperatures at 8:50 for 6 o'clock this morning. They go forward in 6 hour steps, and you notice the low here, look, at 8:50, clearing off towards the southeast. It's this line here, this -5 line, that we need to watch for. Roughly speaking, that's the snow line. And as we go through tonight, look, you'll notice how we're getting down to sort of -7s, -8s across many central and eastern areas at 8:50. A little bit warmer towards the west. And then interesting feature tomorrow, because this is the start of Monday's snowfall coming in during Monday morning. And you notice how we've got this kind of tongue of slightly warmer air in here, look, but just watch what happens. Look, we've got this flow coming in like so, bringing in these -6s, coming up against the -6s here. Watch what happens. Whack, there you go, temperature falls off, all this cold air comes through, squeezes away this little warm tongue down towards the south, and then bish bosh bash, by the end of Monday, look, we're all in -7s, -8s. Anything that's in here just falls as snow. So the question is, how much snow? Well, this is what I think at the moment. This went out to private clients this morning, and you saw it as amusing as well. That's what I think we're looking at on Monday. This is close of play on Monday, so I think it's still this kind of eastern parts of England, the main threat area, 3 to 10 centimetres. More difficult to be more precise than that. Difficult to be more precise than that, but I think that's probably quite reasonable. This is the big question mark area, the West Midlands, eastern parts of Wales. I've got 1 to 3 just to try and cover it off, but it could be we see more within this area, or perhaps we don't see anything. It could be that the mild air comes south, comes in as rain, then we get snow coming in on the back of it later, and then that freezes over overnight. So, you know, we've just got to watch that one. Out towards the west, well, I think eventually we're turning into traces over the hills and up over Scotland, generally about 3 centimetres, but it could be as much as 15 centimetres over high ground. Now, in terms of confidence, well, I think this area here, we've got to be looking now at sort of 85% confidence with that area. This area in here, well, I think we're looking about a 60% confidence level in there. Out here, probably looking at around an 80% confidence for those sort of amounts. And I think here for Scotland, we're probably looking in terms of around a 90% confidence for Scotland. So those are the sort of confident levels that we're looking at. Certainly going to be some cold weather ahead, and it looks like being icy, it looks like being snowy. It's going to be an interesting spell of weather. So I'm going to leave you with that for now. Lots more that I could go through with you, but don't want to blow your mind too much, and it's so busy here in the office as well. Going to be tweeting throughout the course of the day, overnight tonight and into tomorrow too. And as I've mentioned on the tweets as well, lots of you coming in now as private clients. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming in as private clients. We're producing forecasts now for a whole range of people. I mean, we've got farmers, we've got golf courses, we've got tourist attractions, we've got insurance companies, we've got so many people who've come in as a result of the videos and things. So thank you very much for that. And of course, as always, the site stays free of charge. Thank you for watching, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.